Alright, today we've got Batesy. For those of you that want to Google him, Chris Bates from Checkside. Good friend and also a really important strategic partner for us here at Step Change. So Checkside, his company, it's all about connecting strategy with people because they're so important. So it's no surprise we tend to hang out a lot together. So look, the first question I've got for you, I want to get a little bit controversial if that's okay. So just clear it up for us. Are people a company's most important asset or not?
Yeah, so Kips, I think that that's something that gets thrown out there quite a lot.
It's a truism, right?
Well, look, the short answer is if those people understand your game plan and if they're helping you win, then I think they absolutely can be, and I think most people would agree with that. I think the issue is if everyone's not on the same page, people can actually be your biggest liability. They're, typically one of your largest costs. And I think the responsibility of the employer is to show people how they can win. So obviously if you want them on the same page, it's the job of the employer to say, well, here's the strategy, here's the business model, here's how we keep score, and here's how you win in business or win in business at our company. So line those things up, and absolutely people are your greatest asset, but it always starts with the owner and the strategy of the business.
Great, so it falls back on us. Awesome.
Always.
So look, strategy was all the hype for years gone by. Recently, execution's been getting all the focus. Just in the context of people, which one's more important and why?
Well, obviously I'm going to say both are important here.
Adding to our to-do list again, thank you.
So both are important, but I guess if you look at it this way, people spend more of their time executing than they do coming up with strategy. Now, you need great people to come up with a great strategy. That's fairly obvious, and they will use people like yourselves and us to help them with that. But at the end of the day, the rubber hits the road at execution level, and it's really important that people get the right rhythms and habits and communication going through their business in the execution phase. And again, they just spend more time executing than doing strategy. Both important, your people spend more time executing.
Yeah, fair enough. So look, for people that are sitting there in the blogosphere watching this, and they want to get a better connection between strategy and people, what are the things they can do right now to make that happen?
Yeah, so I think really what they ideally need to do is understand up front the workforce plan, the workforce strategy, and how that links to the business model. So quite often the strategy is done in isolation of the people stuff. It kind of gets sorted out later. But you really need to bring that to the fore and go, okay, do we actually have the right workforce to execute the strategy we just came up with? And let's talk about this now, because in reality, some people need to stay, and the people who, and some people need to go. And the people who got you to this point in business may or may not be people who get you to the next point in your business. So having a really honest conversation about that, rather than let's see how we go with the existing structure that we've got or existing workforce, having that conversation up front is really, really important, because it will you will get wheel slip if you just try and change your strategy but maintain the status quo on your people.
Yeah, gotcha. Now look, we work together, so we're obviously a fan of what you do. You've helped us connect our business strategy to our people, and it's something we worked on almost a year together. So get a couple of wins in alignment, hear it loud and clear. If someone wants to go to the next level and really create that step change, if you will, and is willing to go on the journey, where does it start, and what are the types of things the organisation would look to achieve over the next year or so to really connect people and the strategy together?
Yeah, so as you know, the outset of what we do, and probably going on to my former point, is running our 3-lens diagnostic.
Which is great, we've done that.
Yeah, so obviously with 3-lens we're looking at three things, right? We're looking at the strategy, we're looking at all the people systems that exist currently, and then we're looking at the profit impact. So the numbers are really important in this whole thing, and again, that's all about keeping score and telling people how they're going to win. So I think in the first year, lining those three things up is the most important first step. Looking at the workforce structure, looking at the habits and making sure that the habits systems, rhythms around people in the business actually line up to the numbers and how we're going to win at the end of the day, keeping people focused on objectives. There's a fair body of work in terms of getting people tuned in to that system of connecting people to strategy. That's probably where you start during that first year. The other big thing is making sure you're getting your recruitment strategy right, because as I said before, there's probably new people that need to come into place, there's people that will leave businesses. What you always want to be doing is upgrading, right? So the more A graders you get in your business, the more you're going to win. An A grader versus an average employee, there's like a 400% differential for senior roles alone. Getting that strategy right as well in that first 12 months is really important.
Awesome. So in this question, you'll strum a lot of people's pain with your fingers. I know that certainly as I hear the answers, I'll remember the time that we were making some of these mistakes. But what are they? What are the big mistakes people are making in the area of connecting strategy to people?
Yeah, so probably the biggest one, because it has the biggest impact, is actually on the recruitment front. So granted, we need to make sure that we get the employer brand and scope right before we go to recruitment, but the biggest issue people make at recruitment is that they think it's a search game. So the kind of mindset is, it's hard to find good people, we need someone to just give us a list of people, rather than actually working on the scope. And when I say scope, it's actually designing out the role. It's providing people with an information memorandum about the business and then really kind of detailed. It's things like discussing remuneration up front, not at the end, so it becomes a negotiation. So most people inadvertently lose control in the recruitment process because they don't have the right A-grade process in the first place. So we see people give power away to candidates all the time. So that's probably one of the biggest mistakes. And within that, and also generally, it's just there's constantly this concept that HR is separated from the numbers in the business.
Yeah.
And again,
when you're around.
Yeah, well, as you know, we like our spreadsheets and our numbers, but again, we will go on probably forever about connecting people to strategy, but connecting people to numbers. Again, the game of business is competitive. It's a competitive sport. You have to know you're winning. The way we know whether we're winning or not in business is whether your numbers say you are or you're not. So.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for the help that you've given our business, and thank you so much for the help you've given all our clients' businesses.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.